Hi, I'm Gabby, and welcome to Gabbing with Gabi. In this series, we sit down with fellow wet on wet oil painters who've brought their knowledge and talent to the world via the internet. It's a great chance for them to put down their paintbrushes and a great opportunity for all of us to get to know them a little bit better. And our guest today is Dale. Dale, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dale Cullen Art, and I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm happy to have you.
Okay.
What is your preferred medium?
My preferred medium is water mixable oils. I took them. I bought them in Florida last year, and just wanted to paint. But I didn't want, any oil painter knows, you got your thinners and all, I didn't want to take that out on the beach. So I said, okay, let me buy this little set of water mixable oils. There was a Michael's, just down the road. Buy this. It'll be good enough for now until I can get home to my real paints. And I painted with those for a week, and I was hooked. Great medium.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And do you prefer to paint landscapes, or do you paint other stuff as well?
I paint other stuff as well. I'm getting ready to do another macaw parrot. I just finished a wolf that was supposed to be, well, it was inspired by Dana Jester at his workshop. Unfortunately, one thing about water mixable oils I can say is their fast dry medium does not dry as fast as liquid. And so I wasn't able to use his technique. But I stayed, I painted along, and learned the technique anyways, even though I wasn't able to use it on that particular painting. But yeah, I do animals and buildings, and I've done a 68 Camaro for a friend of mine,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should try that. I drew a lot of cars in high school because I was friends with all the guys, but I've never painted one, so I bet it'd be fun.
It was great. I'm thinking very seriously about doing my favorite car of all time, a 1972 Gran Torino Sport notchback.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thinking very seriously about doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of favorite cars. Anyways, if you had to pick a subject and only paint that for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, that is a very good question. And I think it would be landscapes / seascapes, if I could push it in there too. Because something that Bob Ross told us, and I never got it until I started painting. He said, when you start painting, you start seeing the world through different eyes. And he was right. And beauty surrounds us every day. All we have to do is open our eyes and look. And so I think if I had to pick one subject, it would be the creation that is around me. I can never capture its beauty, but I can try.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think when you become a painter, just what you said, it's the little things that you notice. We have a swamp by us that's frozen right now, and it always looks just yuck. And it looks beautiful because I see it differently.
Yeah. It's like after all these years, somebody took these blinders off of my eyes, and I was like, wow, this has been around me the whole time, and I've never taken the time to notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
How long have you been oil painting?
I have been oil painting. First time I ever put a brush on a canvas was February 2nd, 2019. So right at 4 years now.
Mm-hmm. And what brought you to it?
Oh, that's a little story in itself if you've got a minute.
Got time.
In the 80s, I was lazy on Saturdays. I mean, heck, it was the 80s and I partied all night on Friday. So I would be laying on the couch and I'd be flipping through the channels, and there's this guy with this big hair on here painting. And I stopped and I watched. And he mesmerized me, and his name was Bob, and he just seemed like everybody's friend. And I had always disliked art. In school, I would not take an art class. I refused to. And don't remember about taking any. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
what you just said about Bob, yeah. Sorry.
It's hard, doesn't it? It's okay, Gabby, because I'm sitting here and I've got tears in my eyes.
So here's the thing. The thing about Bob Ross is Bob Ross reminds me a lot of my dad.
Uh-huh.
And my dad is gone.
Mhm.
And just when you said that he was everybody's friend, it was like I never thought about it that way, but that's the way he was, and I think that's why he relates so much to my dad, because that's the way my dad was too.
Stop it, Gabby.
I'm so sorry.
I'm a very I wear my heart on my sleeve. I do. I always have.
Yeah.
And that's not an apology, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
You know. But okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Bob was everybody's friend. I didn't mean to screw you up. How you got into it?
No, I'm gonna pick it up from there. Okay.
Do that.
But Bob was everybody's friend. But I always disliked art when I was growing up. And the only thing I can think of is the only art class I can ever remember was either late elementary, early junior high. Now, forgive me, I'm 58 years old. It's hard to remember that far back. But I do remember a teacher telling me that and I don't remember the exact words, but the message was, you have absolutely no artistic ability and you're wasting your time. And that stuck with me. Mm-hmm. Now it's my turn.
I'm so sorry.
That stuck with me a long time. And so, anyways, getting on, and it's okay. You don't even have to edit that out. But moving on. So we fast forward to the 80s. Okay, I graduated high school in 83. This was probably around 85, 86, because I was dating my first wife at the time. And we would sit on the couch and watch this dude every Saturday. And I would look at her and say, man, doesn't he make you believe that you can do this? And honestly, we would laugh about it because as far as I was concerned, I had zero artistic ability, but something in me wanted to try, wanted so badly, but I was scared. I was scared of failing. So we move all through this, and I'm scared like this, and I want to try from 85, 86 until 2019. Okay. In 2018, I told my wife, and you'll have to forgive me because this is a very emotional thing for me. Absolutely. And if it makes it on YouTube with me with tears in my eyes, so be it. You know, because that's how much it means to me.
Yeah.
So we go through those decades, the rest of the 80s, the 90s, into the 2000s. Okay. In 2018, Christmas time, what do I want for Christmas? Well, you know, my wife's asking me. I see on Facebook this advertisement, this post about a Bob Ross style class across on the other side of town. Okay, I live on the west side. This is all the way on the east side, and there's no easy way to get there, so we don't tend to go over there. Okay, it's a great place. Used to live over there, but it's hard to get to. But I told her I wanted that. So Christmas morning comes, and I'm all excited because I'm going to get my class. I got to see when we're going to do it. And I start opening gifts, and I open a paint set, and I open brushes, and I open a Bob Ross master paint set, and I open an easel, and I open this, and I open that. I'm like, what is all this stuff? Well, I couldn't figure out when to schedule you for, so I just got you that stuff. And in my head, I'm going, but what if I don't even like it? You know? And so I just took a deep breath. Thanks, honey. You know, and I'm a little worried because now I've got all this stuff and I don't even know if I'm going to even like to paint. I don't know how to paint. So I set myself up. I got in contact with the guy. I set up the class myself for my birthday, which is in January. And I went and took it. And it was a 5-hour long class. And if you told me I sat there for a half an hour, I would have said, yeah, about a half hour. It was about right. That's what it felt like. It felt like I had found home.
Yeah.
And the healing that I have felt through art has been amazing. And the fact that I let one person, when I was a child, dictate my life for so long. Um, it's tough. It's tough. But I can't look back because I cannot unring a bell. But you know what I can do? I can ring my own bells from here on forward. And I have started painting, and it is the most exciting thing in my life. It brings joy to my heart, peace to my soul, puts a smile on my face, and puts tears in my eyes sometimes.
Yeah.
Because that's how much it means to me. I told my wife, I said, you may not understand this because she's not an artist. She just lives with one. And that took a long time for me to call myself that.
Yeah.
I said, you may not realize or even understand what I'm saying. But if you told me I could never paint again, in my mind, in my heart, you might as well tell me I can't breathe anymore. That's how much it means to me. I am passionate about it. It has healed more wounds than I can say. And here I am. So, yeah.
And I think it does that for a lot of people. And there's so many people out there that I think would benefit from it.
Yeah. You know? I encourage people all the time to find their passion. Find it. It may be painting, it may not. I have a friend who is the most amazing leather worker. And that's his thing. And find that passion and hold on to it tight and never let somebody take it away from you. Never.
You know, I had a teacher. I went to school to be a teacher. And I had a teacher in high school who was like, you will never be a teacher. You are, you're never going to be successful at anything. And I ended up choosing not to become a teacher after I went through all my schooling. But I was a teacher every place I ever worked. Now I teach people to oil paint. And I wish that she was still alive because I'm guessing she's not. She was old back then. But I wish I could just go to her and, rub her face in it too. Because it's like, listen, I can be successful. And, for me, though, it was like, if anybody ever tells me I can't do it, I'm like, hold my beer because I'm about to do it, But it's so sad that somebody was able to do that to you because that's not fair.
No.
How dare they?
That is why I am so, and you may edit this out. You may want to keep it. I don't care. Okay. I am so vocal about unsolicited critiques.
Yeah.
Because not for me. I don't care what somebody says about my work. I'm past that. I know what I can do and I know who I am. And if you don't like it, hey, I know another artist right over there. You may love her stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. But when I was first starting, I was hit with a lot of unsolicited critiques that almost made me quit. And that is why when I get one, I let the people know. And I'm not very nice about it sometimes. Unsolicited critiques, I find to be extremely rude because it can actually do exactly to a brand new artist. And as far as I'm concerned, if you open up a tube of paint, put it on your palette and pick up a brush and put it on a canvas, you're an artist.
Yep, absolutely.
And to discourage someone so new to me, it's that teacher telling me, again, you can't do this. So.
Well, and I think that there is always, no matter how good or how bad, I think back to my first oil painting and it was atrocious. It was so bad. But you know what? It was better than anything I had ever painted with acrylic. So it motivated me. But it's like, you can look at anything, and it's like, if somebody says, this is my first painting, great, keep going. If somebody's like, this is my second painting and I butchered this tree, how do I do it? Let me tell you, you're doing a great job, keep going. But, you can do this and this might help you. You know, there's a difference,
Yeah. And if someone asks for a critique or advice, I'm happy, and I no problem. But a lot of people, when they first start showing their work, that's a huge step for them. Mm-hmm. If you start hitting them left and right with, oh, you should have blended that a little bit better, or you know what, man, that tree looks a little bit off. Oh, here's one. Here's what Bob said, that trees just didn't grow like telephone poles. I was told that. You know, I just, and I corrected him, said he never said that, but let me tell you what he did say. But anyways, you know, for me, it's no big deal. But for a new artist, I never want to see anybody go through what I went through for most of my life. I was 54 years old before I started doing this.
Yeah.
And it was all because of something that was said to me when I was a child. So, you know, I encourage everyone, try it. You know, if you're not having fun, then this isn't for you. And that's okay. Because maybe music is, maybe dance is, maybe, I don't know, anything could be. So, yeah.
And anybody that says that, first of all, where do telephone poles come from? And
Right.
second of all, you must not have ever been to northern Minnesota where they grow all the trees that have the telephone poles, because they're straight up. They might be man-made, but they're straight as
You know, I just consider the source. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, I'm a plumber. I have been around tradespeople quite a bit, and anyone who's been around tradespeople, they have a pretty thick skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like I said, it's not for me, but I never want to see anyone go through what I went through.
I always say I've been called worse things by better people. So
Truth. You got that right. What interview has a completely different path than what I thought it would, but I'm okay.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's great though. So we covered that first question. You've kind of spoke to the second question that I have, but do you see painting as something that's going to be long term in your life or short term?
Oh, long term. Long term. I am going to paint for as long as the good Lord, the universe, or whatever you want to call it, lets me.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I hope, I pray that the day that I exit this life, I have just finished a painting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how I feel.
You can go off to heaven and paint sunsets with God. That's my plan.
Absolutely. I hope to meet Bob and Bill up there and say, come on, show me some stuff.
That's right. That's right. I always think that our talent is just on loan. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I feel very blessed. I mean, I do. I feel so blessed that I found this joy.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a present that was given to me. I really do.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Do you have other hobbies outside of this?
I do. I love riding my motorcycle.
What's the motorcycle?
Oh, yeah. I have a 1997 Yamaha Royal Star Tour Deluxe that did belong to my father. When he passed in 2014, it came to me, and it's still running. One thing he told me was, whoever I leave that to, better ride it, because it's not made to sit in the garage.
Yeah.
And I said, Dad, I blow a kiss to heaven every time I throw my leg over that saddle and I take off down the road. I blow a kiss to heaven and say, come on, Dad, let's go ride. And you do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. I have a Harley. I know exactly what you mean. And I feel like the peace that comes with riding a motorcycle, because you have to concentrate so much on the road that you can't think of anything else. And I feel like painting is almost that way too.
Yeah. Painting, my wife tells me I just lose all sense of time when I'm painting. No, I don't. Dale, you've been down there for 10 hours now. We have you come up.
Yeah, no kidding.
You have
let's move on.
Yeah.
When you got started, what was easy for you?
When I first started, what was easy?
Yeah.
What was easy? You know what? I would say probably clouds. Clouds came rather easy for me. I don't know why, because I know a lot of people struggle with them. I have a very good friend that she struggles with them, and she was here one day and we sat down and we painted together. She made me show her how I did my clouds. I don't know why. And that's just one thing that seemed to come easy for me. Yeah.
You don't overthink them. That's, I think, the biggest problem that people have is they overthink clouds.
Yeah.
Like, take them too seriously.
Oh yeah, because cloud can be whatever shape it wants to be. I'll be honest, a lot of times, and it doesn't matter what brush I'm using, really. I make clouds with whatever happens to be in my hand, but I'm just haphazard with it. I don't really have any rhyme or reason. I just put it up there and blend it, and looks like cloud.
Absolutely. I do the same thing. And I think some of my best guys are the ones that, and then you step back from it and it's like, whoa, I can see these clouds. It's crazy.
Did I just do that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What was more difficult for you?
Mountains. Mountains by far, hands down. I don't really paint my mountains the way that Bob taught us, because I never could quite get it. He would say, you got to hold the palette knife, just so gently and to get the paint to break and all. Every now and again, I would get it to break, but was never very good at it. It always looked like I had just iced a cake. I was at a Steve Ross workshop, and I think it was the first one I ever went to. And Steve happened to come by, and we were, I was telling him about the problem I was having. I said, I think it's the paint I'm using. He said, well, let me see. And he took the palette knife and went, perfect. I said, okay, it's the technique. So, yeah.
It's weird because when you teach somebody, that opens your eyes to like how things actually work. And it's you put that paint on the back of your palette knife, and it's like rolling it up.
Yeah.
And when you're taking it off your palette knife, it's like you're unrolling a carpet.
Yeah.
And I was teaching somebody, and then it kind of clicked that way, and I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense. You know what I mean? Because it's like you don't want to just mountains are difficult. Mountains, they really are.
So I do I've learned a few different techniques, and so I do mine a little bit differently. Doesn't mean that one's right and one's wrong. You do what works for you, So.
Have you tried different styles of knives?
Yes. I tend to use. I tend to use these here. Ooh, there we go. Those there
with the bent neck.
Oh, that one, yeah.
But with a bent neck versus like a completely flat knife.
Oh, that's one that looks like something that Stephen Conway uses, and I've been looking for one of those. Haven't run across one yet.
You can get these at Michael's. They're Artist Loft ones for like $3. I have a ton of them.
Yeah. I mean, that's what all these are that I have.
Yeah.
Artist Loft, and I tend to buy. I tend to like the Artist Loft's knives. I like the Master's Touch brushes. So,
yeah, absolutely. Because there's so many, depending on what kind of brush it is, or what kind of. There's so many things that are good in all these different lines. It's like you don't have to stick with one brand or So.
Yeah, I've started using water mixables. I'm using a lot more synthetic brushes.
Yeah.
And so really, I hardly use a 1 or 2 inch brush anymore, except just to blend.
Yeah. So. Mine hardly ever get used either. Because when I do my blending, I use Hake brushes.
Oh yeah, have a few of those.
Do you? Oh, they're great, aren't they?
I sometimes watch Buck Paulson paint, and he always called them bunny brushes. I guess they're soft like a bunny. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that name, and so I tend to call them that too.
I call them the goat because they're goat hair brushes. They're made out of goat hair, and so when I'm doing like demonstrations, I have a big one that I've never used, and I just carry it around with me, and I let the kids pet the goat.
I love it.
They're great though. You can do amazing things with those.
You can.
They're great.
Higher painting with one.
Yeah.
Well, with one and a fan brush. Yeah.
And
they're great. That's all I said.
I don't know that there's many, if any, paintings now that I do where I don't pick up my goat brush.
Yeah. I use those, and I also use makeup brushes.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Makeup brushes. In fact, that was one of my stocking stuffers, was a whole big thing of makeup brushes.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna use these. So,
I have a basting brush, a barbecue basting brush that I use. It works great. It's great.
I've told people I will use a piece of scrap wood if it'll give me the effect that I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
I have no problem with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And getting your hands into different stuff and just trying it. That's a big part of it.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Loads of fun.
Yeah. Is there anything that you wish you had known when you first started?
Anything I wish I had known when I first started? You know what? Yeah, but it really doesn't have to do with the painting, but the painters. It's just what a great group of people that I have met that are artists. All through art, I have met these amazing people. And now I've met you. And so I get to add you to the list.
Yay.
But yeah, I have met people from all over the United States, and actually a couple over in the UK. I say meet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the one thing I wish I had known. I probably would have done it sooner if I'd known what great people, what great friends I would have made. So yeah.
I think we come into things, at certain times for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
What advice do you have for somebody just starting?
Just starting is don't be discouraged, and don't be too hard on yourself. Offer yourself a little grace. Remember, and something that I heard Bob say one time, and he probably said it more, but I've only heard him say it one time, was, I bet when you first started learning to tie your shoes, you weren't very good at it. But you practice and you practice and you practice and you practice, and you become you get to the point where you don't even think about it. And that's how painting is. When I'll tell you, when I did my very first painting at that class across town, I came out and I thought it was a masterpiece. It wasn't. But it's like you said, it was the best thing I had ever done. To this day, I am so proud of that painting because it marked, in a lot of ways, a birth for me. It was like a new life, just like boom, and that is what that painting represents to me. And I will never part with that painting. And every year I repaint it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my biggest pieces of advice that I try to give to new people is whatever you do, don't try to fix that painting. Don't ever get rid of that painting, because I don't have mine.
Mm-hmm.
Mine got cut off and I restretched canvas on it, and that went in the garbage. And that was after I tried to rework it. And it's like, I wish I had that so bad. I don't even have a photograph of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
hold on to that.
Yes,
that's a great reminder.
In fact, I have every one that I have painted, and so counting the very first one, I've painted that particular painting 5 times, and that's the only time I will paint it is every February. And it is a Bob Ross composition, although this year I did not use a Bob Ross technique at all, but I kept his composition. I just wanted to try something different, and I think Bob would have approved.
Absolutely.
And so, keep that painting. And I decided to paint it every year just to kind of see my progress. And now I'm to the point where I just want to keep the composition, but I'm just trying all these different techniques and things I've learned and trying to put my own spin on it. I was talking to a artist. He's from Indiana. You may know him, J.D. Wayne. The rock and roll artist, great guy, wonderful artist. But I was talking with him, and I said, JD, it seems like in the past 6 months or so, with all the different styles I have learned from different artists, I feel like I'm starting to kind of come into my own style, my own, thing. And and if you see where you started, and you see that path that you've gone, give yourself some grace. That was your first painting. Look how much how much you like the next one even better, or even that one, or and keep going. Don't get discouraged. You're going to do great, and I hope you never paint your masterpiece. I hope you're always striving for something a little bit better. So yeah.
I couldn't say it better myself, actually.
Okay.
How long did it take before you sort of felt like you were comfortable with oil paint?
I didn't feel real comfortable probably for about the first few months, probably 3 or 4 months. I always felt like I was kind of flubbing this up or flubbing that up, or I didn't do that right. I didn't do that. I can't tell you the number of times I scraped. I'm sorry, I have a palette knife. Makes me feel. I can't the number of times I used this palette knife and scraped paint off of a canvas, and I wish I had never done that.
Yeah.
I really do. I wish I hadn't done that. So what was the question again?
How long you felt before you were comfortable with oil paint?
Yeah. And so probably a few months, and before I felt like I wasn't screwing something up every time I picked up a brush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one day you just kind of get over that hump.
Yeah. And I got to the point where there are many times I'm painting, and in the middle of the painting, I'm thinking, this is not going the way I had pictured it in my head, and when I first started, those first few months where I was feeling uncomfortable, that's when I'd start scraping the paint off the canvas. Now I'm just like, okay, it's not really going that direction. Let's see where it goes and just roll with it. I find that sometimes the painting comes out pretty darn good. Sometimes it doesn't. But you know what? I've never sat down and painted and thought, man, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Never. So no matter how it turns out, it's a great time.
It's actually fun, because I do my videos, and I've been recording fixing old paintings, and it's fun to have it recorded so I can look back at it. It's like, you never know when you're going to be able to turn something that might not be so great into something really great.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you, not this pier painting, but the one before it. After that first color glaze, and I saw how chalky and hazy and everything was, I thought, man, this thing is destined for the garbage can. I really did. But said, let's see where it goes. It could be great or it could be a disaster. I finished it. I posted it in a Fort Myers Beach, Florida Facebook group, not to sell it, just to, everyone was posting pictures of the pier and everything. I posted it and somebody bought it. So sometimes even if you don't think it's quite right, so that may be exactly what somebody's looking for.
Absolutely. I have people all the time that, being from Minnesota, we have more than 10,000 lakes, no joke.
Oh, yeah.
And I have people who will stop and they will look at a picture and they'll be like, that's Lake Winnebagosh, or that's, you know what I mean? That lake, and they have to have it because it's like, I have a cabin and that is the view from my cabin.
Yeah. Isn't it something? Yeah. And then there's other times that I swear there is a divine hand in it. I was experimenting my very first few months, and I experimented with an acrylic pour over a cutout on contact paper of a butterfly.
Oh, cool.
And poured it, did that. Once it was dry, peeled it, and then oil painted in it. And it was actually for a collaboration with an author for her book, although she didn't wind up using it. But anyways, I did this, and it was a landscape inside the butterfly. And outside was the pour, which was turmoil. Inside was the inner piece, is what it was called. There was a lady in Michigan whose mother, and there was a waterfall in it. That was important. There was a waterfall in it. There was a lady in Michigan whose mother had passed. And her mother said, if there's any way I can ever come back as a butterfly, I'm going to. She said, Dale, my mom and I used to go hiking looking for waterfalls. I said, this belongs with you. She said, how much? I said, no, you don't understand. This painting was destined to come to you. And so sometimes I feel like there's a little extra oomph in there, So
that is crazy. That's amazing.
Still Facebook. I was still friends on Facebook with her. Very, very, very nice lady. Yeah.
Do you have that picture posted on Facebook?
I do. I'll post it over in the group if you want.
Yeah, do that. That would be wonderful. Yeah.
I'd love to. It's like I said, my first few months, so it's not the best quality, but it does have a happy little accident that in it that just amazed me. I was doing, pulling the palette knife down, making a cliffside and everything. Somehow or other, I painted a deer with it. I don't know how, but it sure is. It's right there.
So, great. That's awesome. Yeah. You were channeling your inner Bob that day.
Don't know what happened.
That's so great.
Well, I got another one. My mother-in-law swears Bigfoot's in it, so.
I always say art is in the eye of the beholder. You never know.
Hey, she figured it out, and I said, "Yeah, you're not wrong."
Yeah. so I do historical reenactments, and I bring my easel with, and I paint.
Uh-huh.
And my son, who's a young teenager now, he was standing behind me, and I was like, Anthony, you know, Bob Ross says you're never supposed to set your sky on fire.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, watch this. And, you know, dry canvas.
Uh-huh.
And just, I use Gamsol. So I had my Gamsol, my thinner, and then
Uh,
a yellow, and then red. And I painted this picture, and it looks like hell.
uh-huh.
It doesn't like it looks like hell. No, it looks like hell.
The location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is red, and it's black, and it's got these jagged mountains. And I painted like a closer area with these dead, burned out trees. And one of my very dear friends walked up behind me, and he's like, what you painting? And I was like, nothing. Why, Dakota? And he's like, because that's mine. He's like, you
really?
need to paint a little crow in it. That picture's mine. I was not even half done with it. And he's like, you just don't know
Uh-huh.
when, you
Yeah.
know, a piece is going to be for somebody.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because the pier painting that you mentioned was sitting on the easel, and my wife was walking up the stairs and had stopped. I started to come down the stairs, and she's just over there, and she's just got tears in her eyes, and she's staring at this thing. And I said, what's wrong? She said, just give me my moment. I said, okay. It's okay. She's fine. And so I walked upstairs, and she came upstairs, and she said, I was just in the moment. So many good memories that painting's bringing back. I said, you know what? A painting, a piece of art should touch you in some way and elicit some sort of emotional response, some sort of connection, you know. And when that happens, you know, that's kind of a special thing. It's special for them, but for me, if I see that happening, and I've seen it before, it is like the icing on top of the cake of all this, because what I just painted brought such joy to somebody. To me, that's what it's all about. We're here to share the joy.
That I'm going to tell you a story, but I'm not going to tell it to you now. I'll tell it to you once we're done with this.
Sure.
But it has to do with that, and absolutely. Okay, let's see. I don't even know where our questions are.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Gabby. I didn't mean to screw your interview up.
Oh, you're not screwing it up at all. This has actually been very, very cool. I love this. Oh, okay. Next question. Is there anything that you feel like you still struggle with?
Yeah. There are plenty of things that I feel like I still struggle with. I feel like I struggle with, honestly, you want to know the truth? Probably everything but clouds. It's like, I shouldn't say struggle. It's not really a good word for it. I don't feel like I have painted to my potential most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, where it's like I get done with the painting, and even if it's a good painting, you know, or even if it's sold, I'll think, man, you know, I should have done better. I should have done this. I should have done that. But maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, because I have learned so much just from that. Just from, you know what, that water is just not quite the right color. You know, getting water the right color, I think, is incredibly difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really do.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on the pier one, the water in the pier. It's like, I don't think it's quite right, but we're getting there. Yeah.
I like to take chances with water sometimes and just do stuff you wouldn't do. And sometimes that turns out really cool.
Well, I've started really, I didn't do it in so much in the pier painting, but in this other seascape that's on my wall right over there, I've started really like trying to get the reflections from the sky, the sun, and everything, not just into like a lake, but into the ocean, you know, and get those little sparkles in there. And those sparkles are tough.
They're tough. Yeah, they are. They are, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you decide to start doing videos?
The first reason was, number one, I wanted basically to do time lapse mostly, so I could kind of see what I had done. I didn't think anyone would ever watch my videos. I just put it on there because I can store it on there and I'm not using up a bunch of space on one of my devices.
Mhm.
And so I put it on YouTube. And so a lot of my stuff you'll see is time lapse, but then I can go back and I can look at how I did things. But then I started doing a few little, I didn't want to call them tutorials because I don't feel like I'm teaching anyone a whole lot. I call them paint alongs.
Mhm.
Come paint along with me. We're going to paint this today or that today, And I love doing those, but I am not a fast painter.
Mhm.
Usually my paint along videos are usually 2 parts, an hour long each, which may be a little long for some folks, but I figured, well, heck, if you need something shorter, I got some time lapse too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did that too, actually, because, I demonstrate painting and people will sit and watch me for a long time. And I'm like, it would be really fun to get to sit and watch somebody paint. And then I'm like, it'd be really cool to, if I could. And then I started recording,
Yeah.
kind of same reasons. So,
Yeah. It just kind of like developed into what it is. And I don't have a big channel. I think I have 350, 400 subscribers, maybe, but that's okay. I'm not looking to get famous. I'm just looking to make friends.
yeah. Well,
And maybe, show you, hey, let's paint this and maybe you'll have some fun.
yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, eventually, we put videos out there now.
Mm-hmm.
10 years from now,
mm-hmm.
there will probably still be people watching them. So it's like you don't know who your audience is going to be.
You're exactly right. And we may never have the audience that Bob had, but he passed all those years ago. What was it? 94, 95. All those years ago. And he is still touching lives today.
Absolutely.
If it weren't for Bob, I would have never tried.
No.
He gave me he gave me the desire to try. And it took a long, long, long time, but he gave me the courage to do it too. And what's funny is when I did that class, I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
No, my wife knew it, and that was it. Because if I was going to fail, I didn't want to fail in front of everybody. And so when I came out of there and I posted this painting, oh, look what I did.
Yeah.
So, and here we are today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you sell your work?
I do.
Yeah. Any tips as to how that's been sort of successful for you?
I've had the most success at art shows. Now, that being said, there's some things to do at art shows. I mean, if you can get to an art show and set up an easel and paint, people will flock to your booth. If you go and you do not set up your easel and paint, you'll have some traffic, but not like if you had set it up. And when you set up your easel to paint, make sure it's where everyone can see it, not way back in the back of your booth. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I do that too, and you're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody out there, if you guys want to sell your art and you're doing it, bring your easel with, because it draws people. And bring an assistant though, because people sometimes are like, I didn't want to bother you. I'm like, no, really, I'll happily put down my paintbrush if you're gonna buy my pieces.
I have an old canvas that I painted on that says, please talk to the artist, he gets lonely. So I put it right beside me as I'm painting. So
yeah. Oh, that's a great idea too, actually. How many pieces do you think you've painted since you started?
Ooh. I've got boxes and boxes and boxes of paintings, and those are the ones I haven't sold. I would say probably in the 4 years, I probably do 2 paintings. I would say probably about 300 or 400. Yeah. And maybe a little more. Mm-hmm.
It's hard to keep track, especially if you paint a lot.
Yeah. And I'm finding now that the paintings that I am doing, most of them are multi-stage. And so I'm not painting as many paintings. But I'm also using a few different styles. I don't exclusively paint wet on wet. I normally do, but you've seen like with the pier, that's a completely different style that was taught to me by Marion Dutton for Mazart Studios in United Kingdom. You know, and then, you know, Dana Jester, some of his paintings are not wet on wet. Wet on wet, I just love, you know, but sometimes I like to do different things, you know, just try different stuff. I tried acrylic once. Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
It's tough.
Oh, I have the utmost respect for artists of other mediums because yeah.
It's I always tell people, like, because I have people ask me all the time, what's the difference? And I'm like, well, painting with acrylic is like trying to paint with Hershey's syrup.
Yeah, yeah.
And trying to paint with oil is like painting with frosting.
Yeah.
That's the best analogy I can use. And
that's a really good analogy. I like that. And with your permission, I would like to start using it.
You take that and use it, because it's the thing I've come up with.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. And I'm definitely, how do I say this? I am the last person who wants to be like, that's mine, I'm keeping it.
Right.
You know, I'm in this for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotcha.
What is your favorite thing specifically to paint? I guess we kind of touched on this, but
yeah, that would be landscapes.
Any specific landscape though that you really love?
I'll be honest. I love anything with a barn in it.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to use Wilson Bickford's technique for doing barns. I just find it works easier for me. Yeah. But I love having a barn. And what I really like, and I think I did this on a painting for Christmas. I love, you know, having my little cutout of my contact paper of my little cabin or barn or whatever, and stick it on a black canvas and gesso it all. And so you can't really see it.
Yeah.
And start painting and then peel that thing off. And I think it kind of works real well. Like on a time lapse, it looks kind of cool.
Yeah. I haven't seen, I'll have to go back and watch that because I haven't seen that. That'll be really cool to watch.
It's called Last Christmas Eve, I believe it is.
Okay. Yeah. I'll definitely check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, one thing that I love to do, and I think Bob talked about this, is painting on black canvas. So when I'm demonstrating for school kids, I'll have a black canvas up that's got all the paint on it, and they don't know, of course.
Right.
Start hitting it with a brush, and just the color explodes out of it. It's so fun.
Oh yeah, and I bet those little eyes go, whoa. Yeah.
I always tell them it's a magic trick.
Love it.
Who inspires you?
Well, you know, I could start naming off. An arm. I list as long as my arm of artists out there who inspire me. I mean, because when I start talking about artists who inspire me, I'm talking about not just the artists that are well known, and they do inspire me. People like Dana Jester and Steve Ross, of course, Bob and Bill. I mean, always. Marion Dutton, Stephen Conway. You know, I can start naming off all these artists, but there's so many others who aren't as, you know, they're not famous, you know, they don't have a TV show. People like I see in our groups, you know, Jeff, and I have not figured out how to pronounce his last name. So Shiv, Jeff, sorry, Jeff. Even simpler, J.D. Wayne, Bram Bevins. I mean, I could just the Gregorys, the Shellmans. I mean, I can just keep naming all these people, and these are people that are just like me and you. I find inspiration everywhere. I really, really do. Through these people, through the beauty that surrounds us every day, and from the love that we should have for one another. When I see that, that's the most inspiring thing I can even think of. The love that we are supposed to have for one another. When I see that in practice, that is the most inspiring thing I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely. Let's see. One of my last question before I get to my bonus questions. I think this is divine intervention. My question was, what does painting mean to you?
Oh my gosh. I hope I've kind of answered that throughout this entire.
You absolutely have, yeah.
I can't even begin to explain how much.
Yeah.
I feel like I said, if you told me I could never paint again, you might as well tell me I could never breathe again. This to me, it's not just something I do as a hobby. And for the longest time, and I told you, it took me forever to actually call myself an artist and believe it. Um, for the longest time, I was like, yeah, I'm just a plumber who likes to paint.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm an artist who happens to do plumbing.
Yeah.
That's how I see myself. This is who I am. That is what I do. So
Absolutely.
you would be. It means so much to me. It's a part of me.
Yeah.
It's a part of my soul. And I think that was put there by the creator. I really do. And it took me forever to find it. And I think he probably danced a little jig when I finally found it. He's been waiting there for you this whole time.
Whole time.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get into your bonus question.
Oh boy. Okay, my bonus question.
If you could trade your talent of painting for any other talent in the world, what would it be?
Do I have to?
I know, exactly.
So I'm trading this talent for a different talent.
Yeah, let's say like.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, got it. Oh, I would want to be a rock and roll guitarist.
Awesome.
I mean, seriously, I would. And rock and roll guitarist playing with Def Leppard. How's that? That's my favorite band in the world.
I love Def Leppard.
They're my favorite. But they have some pretty darn good guitarists already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess you'll have to stick with painting, bummer.
Oh darn. But that is like, it would be the ultimate for me was go to rock and roll fantasy camp and actually get to jam with Def Leppard,
That would be awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My second bonus question for you is, do you have a moment that is kind of a moment of pride in painting?
Yeah, I do. And it's very hard for me to show it to anybody because it's not allowed in a lot of places. It's a nude. Mm-hmm. But I created this character, and there's a lot of meaning behind this character. And there's a 6-minute time lapse on YouTube, and in the description tells you what this character represents. Mm-hmm. I have been called sexist. I have been told that I objectify people, and I have been called every filthy name under the sun by other artists because I painted a nude, because I celebrated the human body. But I'm damn proud. I'm darn proud painting.
Yeah.
And it is in my studio now with a very high price tag on it because I don't want to sell it. Mm-hmm. But I will for the right price. So
right, everything has a price. Yeah. That's awesome. You know what the thing about it is, like, there's some pieces that you do where it's like it's a piece of you on that canvas.
Yeah.
More so than other times.
That is the truth. I feel like you put a little bit of yourself into every single painting. Mm-hmm. You really do. When you sell a painting, you're not just selling paint and canvas and stretcher bars and oils and thinners and all that. You're not selling that. You're selling a piece of you. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that you're selling it, I'm selling my soul. No, nothing like that. You're selling this, but you're including this. But by doing that you've given comes back to you tenfold. Like I was talking about, when you see the joy on somebody's face over something that you did, it's like, I'm nobody and I did that. So, yeah,
And seeing it bring other people happiness.
Oh, I have the wolf painting that I'm sending out to Oregon this weekend to a lady who used to be my next door neighbor when I was from 7 years old till 12 years old. Haven't heard from her in 30 years or something. She found me on Facebook. She's buying this for a kid that I was friends with, her son, So, and she said, you have no idea how much this is going to mean to him. She said, you don't know how much into wolves he is. Like the entire basement is nothing but wolves. Mm-hmm. And so I cannot wait because one of the things she's going to do is take a picture when he opens it. I cannot wait for that picture.
Yeah.
Because I want to see that look on his face. Yeah. So I don't even know how I got on
that. A moment of pride. We're kind of getting to the end of our interview.
Sure.
Do you have final thoughts that you'd kind of like to share with the world?
There's going to be moments in this interview, quite honestly. I know I had tears coming down my face most of the time. You're not going to be able to edit all that out. I know that. So I'm going to be a little embarrassed. But you know what? This is who I am. And no apologies. This is who I am. Art has brought me more joy and more peace than I could ever tell you. It has healed me in many ways. It's healed broken parts of me I didn't even know were broken. It means everything to me. And what I want to tell everybody is what I tell people that are around me is to find your passion. If it's painting, great. There are so many fantastic artists that you can learn from. Don't limit yourself. There's so many. But if it's not painting, that's okay. Find your passion. If it's fishing, doggone, go fishing and catch you a big one. You know, it could be riding motorcycles, which I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm just waiting for this weather in Cincinnati, Ohio to break. We're almost there. So yeah, find your passion, grab it tight, and never let it go. And don't be discouraged. Not every painting you're going to do is going to be a masterpiece. You're not going to like everyone. I don't like every one of them. I do. And that's okay. It's all right. You don't have to like every one of them. But I will bet you dollars to donuts, you will never get up from doing a painting, even one you don't really care for, and go, man, I wish I had not sat down and painted. I should have been out mowing the yard. So always keep painting, keep pursuing your passions, and keep creating, and leave your handprint on this world.
Wonderful. Where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all under Dale Cullen Art. I try to keep it simple across the board. Under Dale Cullen Art, I am there. Check out my work, say hi, say hello, talk to the artist. He gets lonely.
Darn it. I was like, I'm not going to be cutting anything out of this interview. I'm going to have to cut that part out.
Oh, yeah. I just hope that people don't think less of me because of the tears, but you know what? That's who I am. My mama cries a lot. And you know what? She passed it on to me, because when I feel it in my heart, all that joy, it just overflows, and that's the only place it can come out.
Yeah. So. And I'm happy that you found it. I really am.
I feel like, as I said, I feel like it was a birth, of sorts that day or that night. Yeah, really was. So, and I hope people like my art. And if not, that's okay too, because I know so many great artists. If you don't like my stuff, I'm sure I got friends that you'll like their stuff.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's it. Thank you so much for coming on. It has been a lot of fun.
I've had a blast, and I wasn't expecting to have so much fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, I do. I mean, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I absolutely appreciate you coming on. I think that's it for our interview, guys, today. Make sure that you guys go to his channel, that you guys subscribe. We were mentioning a little bit about this pure picture that he's been doing. Go watch it. I was hooked, and now I'm waiting for the rest of them to come out. So make sure you guys go to his thing, check out his work. He is a phenomenal artist, and I'm absolutely honored to have you here.
I am just tickled pink that you would even want to interview me. Thanks so much. That meant so much to me. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, guys, if you guys have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section of the video. We'll do our best to address them. I'm Gabi. Again, this is
Dale.
Dale, awesome. He's got it for me. Until next time, guys, I really, really do hope that you guys fall in love with oil painting just as much as we have. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.